warm welcome to you here on TV News Hour, here on TV Sapiencia. The top stories today. The Trade Union Congress has backed a Lagos-based National Youth Service Corps member, Chioma Vic-Chukwuemka, also known as Raye, who claimed that she received threats for criticizing President Bola Tinubu's administration. U.S. President Donald Trump has said he plans to speak to his Russian counterpart, Vladimir Putin, on Tuesday, that'll be tomorrow, about ending the war in Ukraine, adding that discussions are already ongoing about dividing up certain assets between the warring parties. And in sport, underperforming Nigeria and disadvantaged Sudan share the spotlight ahead of two 2026 World Cup qualifying match days in Africa from Wednesday. My name is Chioma Vic-Chukwuemka. The news in full. The Trade Union Congress has backed a Lagos-based National Youth Service Corps member, Chioma Vic-Chukwuemka, also known as Raye, who claimed to have received threats for criticizing President Bola Tinubu's administration. TUC President Festus Osifo, who was a guest on a television program, said the corps member spoke out of frustration, advising the government not to go after her, but to be tolerant of critics. The TUC boss, however, advised critics to always criticize the government within the expected norm and with some level of decorum. Raye, a corps member serving in Lagos, recently made headlines after a video she posted criticizing government policies went viral. She later claimed to have faced a threat, reportedly from NYSC officials pressuring her to take down the video. We are following up on the story and we'll keep updating you away from that. The former president, Olusegun Obasanjo, has criticized the 70,000 naira new minimum wage approved for workers by President Bola Tinubu, describing it as grossly inadequate to cover workers' basic needs, including transportation, food and housing. The former president accused labor leaders of betraying workers by prioritizing personal interest over collective welfare. In Chapter 17 of the book, Obasanjo accused a labor leader of neglecting leaders while pursuing personal interest. Obasanjo also criticized government officials who openly admitted to paying off labor leaders to stop agitation. Nigeria imported arms and ammunition worth over 520 billion naira in 2024, according to the Q4 2024 Trade Statistics Report released by the National Bureau of Statistics on March 7, 2025. The country spent 777.1 billion naira on arms and ammunition importation between 2020 and 2024. A breakdown of the figures shows that more money was spent on arms and ammunition imports in 2024 than in any other year within the 4-year period. While a total of 520 billion naira was spent on arms importation in 2024 alone, a significant portion, that is 483.85 billion naira, was spent between October and December 2024. This increase comes despite claims by the Minister of State for Defense, Bello Matawalle, that Nigeria had begun exporting weapons to other African countries. State governors have launched a fresh push against the planned disbursement of federal allocation to the local government councils in a renewed bid to delay the implementation of the Supreme Court verdict on LGA autonomy. Some of the governors, during a meeting with President Bola Tinubu at the State House, Abuja, last Tuesday, kicked against payment of the LGA allocation through the Central Bank of Nigeria, citing the need to address the multi-billion-dollar debt allegedly incurred by the council. Presidency officials said the governors used the opportunity of the Iftar dinner to lobby the president and renew negotiations on direct allocation to councils, which has suffered delays. Historically, the funding of local governments has been long a contentious issue, primarily due to the power dynamics between the state and local government. On July 11, 2024, the Supreme Court delivered a landmark judgment affirming the fiscal autonomy of local governments nationwide. We move right here to Anambra State, where the state governor, Professor Chukwuma Soludo, has said that his focus is on improving governance and not competing with anyone. He said this yesterday, Sunday, in response to a remark by the Catholic Bishop of Sokoto Diocese, Bishop Matthew Kuka, during a Thanksgiving Mass celebrating Soludo's 3 years in office at St. Patrick's Cathedral in Awka on Sunday. Bishop Kuka, who praised Soludo's leadership and the progress made in the state, urged the governor to avoid comparisons or competition with others, encouraging the people of Anambra to continue supporting Soludo in his aspirations for a prosperous and livable state. In his response, Soludo reaffirmed his commitment to building upon the achievements of his predecessors rather than competing with them. He also highlighted his efforts to improve infrastructure, education, and other sectors that contribute to the state's development. The National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control said it evacuated over 100 truckloads of substandard, falsified and banned medicines and narcotics from Idumota Market in Lagos, Onitsha Market in Anambra State, and Aba Market in Abia State in 6 weeks. This was disclosed in a press statement on Sunday yesterday signed by the President Consultant of the agency, Shayo Akintola. The Director General of NAFDAC, Professor Moji Adeyeye, said if the substandard and banned medicines were allowed in circulation, they could ruin the nation by reducing quality of life of millions of Nigerians. Adeyeye made remarks in Lagos on Friday at the weekend at a briefing while giving an update on the unprecedented enforcement exercise carried out in the 3 markets where unregistered, burned, expired or medicines with other violations worth over ₦1 trillion were confiscated. She further disclosed that the agency concluded the enforcement exercise in Idumota and Aba on February 28, 2025, while the exercise still lingered in Onitsha until March 8, 2025. The Speaker of Anambra State House of Assembly, Right Honorable Somtochukwu Udeze, has described the performance of Governor Chukwuma Soludo as a super excellent. He made the call while speaking in a press conference at the State Legislative Complex, and he also stated that Soludo's first speech after he was sworn in as the governor signified his readiness to work for the Anambra. Speaking on the achievements of the governor, the speaker noted that Soludo's administration came with an agenda such as infrastructure, security and reforms in governance, affirming that he has done exceedingly well. The federal government has emphasized that achieving sustainable goals, that's the development goals, requires their full integration into national and subnational development plans rather than isolated initiatives. Senior Special Assistant to the President SDGs, SSAP Princess Adejoke Orelope Adefulire underscored this need during the Northeast Regional Consultation in Gombe as part of Nigeria's 2025 Voluntary National Review, preparation for the high-level political forum in New York in July 2025. Represented by Dr. Bala Yunusa, Senior Technical Advisor, she highlighted that the United Nations Economic and Social Council, ECOSOC, established the high-level political forum as a global review mechanism for the 2030 agenda. She noted that Nigeria is currently conducting its 3rd VNR, engaging stakeholders across all 6 geopolitical zones to evaluate progress, challenges and future prospects. A statement by her Senior Special Assistant on Media and Strategic Communication, Desmond Utomwem, emphasized the urgency of accelerating progress on all SDGs, citing the 2024 UN Sustainable Development Goals report. She pointed out, and I quote, only 17% of SDG targets are on track, nearly 50% show minimal or moderate progress, and over a third have stalled or regressed. End of quote. Away from that story, the Nigeria Senate has dismissed allegations by suspended Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan regarding a planned arrest upon her return from the Inter-Parliamentary Union, the event which held in New York. Senate spokesman Adeyemi Adaramodu, in a press statement sent to newsmen today, Monday, said that the Senate President Godswill Akpabio and the Senate have no reason to engage with Akpoti-Uduaghan on the matter. Akpoti-Uduaghan had alleged plans to arrest her upon her arrival in Abuja, claiming that the Senate President Akpabio had sent staff to evacuate her from the UN premises. She also asserted that her participation in the IPU event was legitimate despite her suspension. In response, Adaramodu suggested that Akpoti-Uduaghan was being troubled by her own actions at the IPU. Away from that, U.S. President Donald Trump has said he plans to speak to his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin tomorrow Tuesday about ending the war in Ukraine, adding that discussions are already ongoing about dividing up certain assets between the warring parties. U.S. officials had expressed optimism on Sunday that a Ukraine-Russian ceasefire deal could be reached in weeks after Washington proposed a halt in fighting in the 3-year war after talks in Saudi Arabia, which Kyiv accepted. Washington and Kyiv's European allies are pressing Moscow to accept a halt in the fighting, but Putin has given no clear answer, instead listing a string of conditions and raising serious questions over the proposal. And finally, on the news, we move to sports. Underperforming Nigeria and disadvantaged Sudan share the spotlight ahead of two 2026 World Cup qualifying match days in Africa from Wednesday. Seeded to win Group C and automatically qualify, a Nigerian team boasting past 2 African footballers of the year, Victor Osimhen and Ademola Lookman, lie 5th in a 16 section. In a qualifying competition spanning 3 years, the Super Eagles drew with Lesotho, Zimbabwe and South Africa, then crashed to Benin Republic in pursuit of a 7th World Cup appearance. Since finishing 2024 Africa Cup of Nations runners-up to host Ivory Coast, Nigeria have had 3 coaches, and they are locals: Fini George, Augustine Eguavon, and now Eric Chelle. We are following up on this story and we'll keep updating. Well, that's it on the news this hour. A reminder of our top stories. We told you that the Trade Union Congress has backed a Lagos-based National Youth Service Corps member, Uche Ugwamaye, also known as Rai, who claimed to have received threats for criticizing President Bola Tinubu's administration. U.S. President Donald Trump has said he plans to speak to his Russian counterpart, Vladimir Putin, tomorrow Tuesday about ending the war in Ukraine, adding that discussions are already ongoing about dividing up certain assets between the warring parties. And finally, in sports, underperforming Nigeria and disadvantaged Sudan shared the spotlight ahead of two 2026 World Cup qualifying match days in Africa from Wednesday. Well, that's it on News Hour on TV Sapiencia. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Chioma Vic-Chukwuemka. Stay with us. Do have a great day.